Welcome to the sanctuary of Temple Beth Israel, Longboat Key, Florida. This is not a regular service. We do not have a congregation in front of us. This is not live streaming. But I felt it was necessary to share something with all of you at this very difficult time. Let me begin by reading something from Mishkan Tefillah, page 7. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide. On this Shabbat, we are doing the exact opposite of what we read in our Torah. Assemble all the people of Israel. No, we're not assembling all the people of Israel. We can't. We are told we have to have social distancing. We do this to protect ourselves and to protect others. It hurts us to have to cancel services. It's the last thing we ever want to do. But given modern technology, perhaps we can have a virtual and imagined community on this Shabbat and afterwards as well. When we got together after 9/11, we could get together. We could be together as a close community. We could be close together. We could hold hands and hug if necessary. We can't do that now. This is a distinction. We cannot get together in real time and real space for support. However, I want to challenge a word that I have heard too often recently, and that is the word unprecedented. Because in our historical tradition, we look for precedents. And I'm going to share a few from general history and from Jewish history. However horrific everything is right now, I want to make a comparison. I'm turning back to the 14th century to the Black Death. Millions upon millions of people died. We don't have numbers, but anywhere from 30 to 60% of Europe's population died. It took hundreds of years before the population got to where it was before. It's not that bad now, and I don't want to diminish anything. But this is not unprecedented. Let me give a few examples from Jewish history. There were 5 main cholera epidemics in Europe in the 19th century. I am going to read you something from a response, an official rabbinic pronouncement from Rabbi Eliyahu Gutmacher. This is the second epidemic in 1831. This will sound familiar. Regarding prayer in the synagogue, in my view, it is truly not right to congregate in a tight space. However, it is proper and possible to pray in small groups, about 15 men. He said 15, we're told 10, better none at all. The idea that people keep social distance is not all that new. I want to say also we have developed the idea, and rightly so, that we pray together as a community, minimally a minyan, the quorum, the smallest quorum, and in the synagogue itself. That is good. But what do we do if we don't have a synagogue we can go to? What do we do if we don't have the minyan or the quorum? We don't need to give up. In many cases in Jewish history, the simplest, a person all by himself somewhere. More dramatic, in concentration camps, in labor camps, in ghettos, people did whatever they possibly could. There are procedures. You pray by yourself if necessary. I'm emphasizing praying as opposed to going to the synagogue. Without a minyan, there are certain things you need to leave out. That is the way it was handled historically. Today, we can live stream, we can do what we're doing now, and the more liberal branches of the Jewish religion are saying that a virtual minyan in times of crisis like this, a certain option without doubt. Let me share something that I recently discovered. A lot of you, I know, will be disappointed that we can't get together, especially if it's the anniversary of a death, in order to say Kaddish. I'm going to read our congregation's Kaddish list for this week, and I am going to read the Kaddish. But the procedure of doing Kaddish, of saying Kaddish, has changed over the ages. In our standard Reformed congregations, everyone stands up for the Kaddish. In more traditional congregations, only mourners and those who have a yard site say the Kaddish together. So they're standing up, the rest of the congregation is seated. With the cholera epidemics in the 19th century, a change took place. The dynamic of the Kaddish is there's a reader and there's response. We have lost this if we read all the way through. It used to be that mourners took turns. This one would lead the Kaddish at this service, this one would lead the Kaddish at another. With the high deaths during the cholera epidemics, there weren't enough opportunities for each mourner to say Kaddish on his own. So it was done as a group. That is a 19th century Jewish innovation, which we think nothing of because we assume it's always been done the way we knew it. Innovation has always been part of our heritage, and we are innovating right now with streaming services and with having an opportunity like this one, for me to talk to you, for you to hear what I have to say, and for us to pray together even in a virtual minyan, in a virtual service. I want to read you something, and again, I'm not innovating, and this is not unprecedented. A prayer that is in the Talmud, Ketubot 8b, for those of you who want the reference. Master of the worlds, redeem and save, rescue and deliver your people Israel from the pestilence, and from the sword, and from the spoil, and from the blight, and from the mildew, interesting, and from all types of afflictions that suddenly erupt and come to the world. Before we call you and you respond, let us say this blessing: praise to you, Eternal One, who halts the plague. Baruch atah Adonai otzer hamageva. It's part of our history. We've had to deal with issues like this before. I have something else I would like to share with you, and this was brought to my attention just a few days ago. We need to pause for a moment to pray for those people who are in the front lines, those who work in the hospitals, those who are doctors, those who are nurses, those who have to clean the floors. They're putting their lives at risk. May we offer a very, very special prayer for them. A prayer in a time of plague. We pray that the physicians, the nurses, the hospital employees who are on the front lines be spared all distress and disease as they care for the stricken, for the elderly, and for the infirm. Most of all, we pray that you, God, look with kindness and generosity on all of us, and particularly on those already infected, for whom recovery this day we ardently pray. As it is written in the Torah, for I, the Almighty, am the source of your healing. May this be your will. As we pray for those who are suffering, and we pray for those who don't even know they have this virus, I would like to take a moment to read the names of those members of our congregation who are ill at this time. And after that, we will sing the Misha Berach that we always sing in our services. I mention Earl Gordon, Norma Greenwald, Peter Roth, Merle Goldman, Norman Gross, Andrew Lerman, Eileen Egan, Marvin Black, Carol Singer, Maggie Brenner, Joshua Haran, Ruth Engman, Dorothy Jacobson, B. Einstein, Ralph Einstein, Barbara Mintz, Marlene Gardner. And I'm going to pause for a moment for those of you who are hearing this and watching this to mention any additional names that you may have. May the Holy One grant them an opportunity to recover well, not to be exposed by any of the horrible diseases that are amidst us at this time. And we're now going to continue with the Misha Berach. This Shabbat is a special Shabbat, Shabbat HaChodesh, the Sabbath of the month that is the month of Passover. When this month begins, and we only have a couple of weeks left, we do our intense preparation for Passover and for the Passover Seder. Unfortunately, we have had to cancel the congregational Seder. For many of us, that is very, very difficult because we don't have family here or anyone we can easily be with. I'm not making a promise, I'm not making an announcement, but I'm sharing some thoughts with you. I'm tossing around in my mind the idea of doing a model Seder, something like this today, with Facebook, with YouTube. I'm also tossing around the idea, if it is feasible, and I'm not sure, of recording part of the Seder that my family will do at our home. If nothing else, that will give those of you who can't be with anyone else in real time to be able to do so virtually. We are going to do something for you. The ideas are in process, as so many of us have developed and changed our ideas and our approaches over the past week or so. For those people who want predictions of the future, we should know that that is a foolish task. We don't know how long this situation will last, but we want everyone to know that our congregation is here for you. If you need me, if you need anyone, feel free to call. My cell phone number is in the directory. That's the best way to reach me. And if you just want to talk, that's okay too. I think at this point, we're going to do a little more singing. We need to sing at a time like this. And Shalom Rav. And we pray for peace for all of us, and above and beyond the prayer for good health, the medical prayers, also a kind of social peace, where those around us will stop blaming and spend their energy instead on how to solve the problem. Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasin Tasem Leolam, Ki Ata V'Elechadu, Lecha Shalom HaShalom.
We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. We remember the recently departed Everett Barrett, Teresa Blumberg, Sheldon Novitsky, Marlena Frank, Stanley Greisman, Beverly Simon, Gilbert Ankowitz, Judith Markstein. And we remember those whose yard sets occur at this time: Norma Balk, Diane Bettman, Laurie Bickle, Doris Blueglass, Richard Bergman, Ronald Bergman, Ethel Derechinsky, Richard Feidelman, Beatrice Fine, Faye Greisman, Suzanne Yoschel, Ethel Kay, Zoya Klempner, William Landau, Elias Langs, Meyer Milner, John Morit, Henry Orn, Norma Perelson, Murray Ronson, Selma Roth, Carl Solomon, Leonard Schechter, Miriam Shapiro, Claire Siegel, Norm Stone, Ethel Gardner. And we also pause for a moment for those of you who are listening and watching this to mention names of your loved ones who have recently passed away or whose yahrzeits occur at this time. The Kaddish. Yid Gadal v'Yid Kadash Shemei Rabbi. V'almad Yivrach Cherutei v'Yamlich Malchutei. V'chaye Chon v'Yomei Chon v'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael. V'agala u'Yisman Kariv v'Imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach le'olam u'ramei almaya. Yitbarach v'Yishtavach v'Yitpa'ar v'Yitromam v'Yitnaseh. V'Tadar v'Talei v'Talal Shmei Tekucha Brichu. Le'ela min ko berchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata damiran ve'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemayim v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the source of peace grant peace unto those who mourn and comfort the bereaved among us, and let us all say, Amen. It is our hope and our prayer that we do not have to do another service like this again, and may we all be granted good health and be able to gather together as a congregation in this sanctuary speedily. We are going to conclude this with the singing of Mayate Hayom, Shabbat Shalom.
Maya behayom, Shabbat Shalom. Maya behayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
May this Shabbat, this week, and the weeks ahead be weeks of good health and happiness and safety. May the Eternal One bless you and keep you. May the Eternal One's light shine upon you and be gracious to you. May you feel the presence of the Eternal One within you always, and may you find peace. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Shabbat shalom. Good Shabbos.